Hey, what's going on, guys? Down coming to you from South Japan, Pinku style, as always with the podcast and everything. As some of the guys are asking, got a few inboxes. Where's episode number 3? Episode number 3 I shot again in order right after episode number 2. But I had some major audio issues. I had some background noise and stuff that I didn't notice was going on, and it really messed up the audio. And again, like you guys know, I'm kind of like building a podcast as I go along and everything. But still, at that time, I didn't want to put the episode out, and so I decided to re-record it. I forgot it was totally off the, nothing was scheduled or nothing was planned, and like none of these podcasts pretty much are. It's just natural. I don't really like the scripted stuff, as I told some guys. What I talked about in that episode, it was in between, like the one I was talking about just getting started, and episode 2 I talked about whatever I talked about. In this episode 3, which I'm going to talk about today, and get on with it. It was pretty much and it was a really quick one. It was more talking about time, your time, and how time is, overall in the world. And also one of my biggest pet peeves is entitlement. A lot of guys just feel entitled. I talk about it a lot, about a lot of younger guys in the car scene or what have you, in all scenes where guys now, they just want it now. And that thing kind of kills me with a lot of things. A lot of you, and I'm talking directly to whoever watches this podcast, whoever comes to my shop and does business with me, whoever deals with me in general. And one of the things, it always gets back to me. People always say shit, and again, I don't give a fuck, because if you're not saying it to me, it doesn't hold any weight. If you're not looking me in my eyes and saying what you got to say, it really doesn't mean anything. So say whatever you want to say behind my back. I know it sounds childish, but I don't talk about people behind their back. I don't say anything to another human about another human that I haven't said to that human to their face. It's just a really cowardice thing, and I don't stand for it. And the biggest thing is I get is a lot of guys who they just they see what you got, see what you have, see where you've been, and see the things you accomplish, and they feel like they should be in those same footsteps and everything. And what it does, it takes time to get it. It takes time to get, places in the life. You can't really get anything, even if you have a lot of money or whatever. You still have to grow and mature, grow into those footsteps, or whatever you got to do to get whatever you have to do. And I just see a lot of guys that just irritates me highly. Guys feeling like they should have things because they feel like it's their time, or maybe they feel like they worked hard enough to get it or whatever. The thing about it, honestly, if you don't got it, it means you haven't worked hard enough to get it. That's just how it is. That's how life is, and nobody's going to give you anything. Asking for handouts in life is just not a good way to go about it. And again, it just really irritates me. When people come at me like that, more so knowing how hard I worked, how much time I put into everything I do in my life at this point, 35 years old, about to turn 36 pretty soon. And everything I got and accomplished in this life, definitely nothing was handed out. Nothing was ever given to me in no point in my life. So a lot of guys meet me with this car shop. They don't know my history. They don't know my combat experience. They don't know anything about me, and they just assume things. And the one thing about me is I make a habit of putting people in their place and putting people back in their lane. The way I operate my life is, everybody out there does their thing, and I foresee that. And when I'm dealing with another human being, I never assume that what I got going on is more important than what they got going on. So when I come into their life or ask those human beings for something to assist me or do whatever that's benefiting me, benefiting my company or me personally, I'm going to take into account that those guys have something going on. There's other people dealing with this guy before me, and I'm talking more. Most of what I'm going to talk about when I'm by myself is business stuff and how things irritate me. It's just kind of venting thing because I don't talk to a lot of people much. But when you're dealing with other humans, everybody else got stuff going on. So when you come into somebody's life, their life just doesn't start when you call them or email them or do whatever. They got other things going on before you engage with them, so you got to take that into consideration when you're dealing with people, that you're not the only one. So when they get to you, they'll get to you. You can't bitch and complain about it. If you want it, go somewhere else, wait, or whatever. You just got to wait your turn. And that's one of the things I do with my business here, as far as the entitlement. Entitlement and time kind of goes into place, because both, they're related. You know, people feel they're entitled by a certain amount of time they put in. They're 20 years old, 21 years old. They feel like they've been alive long enough to deserve certain things when you don't. If you don't fucking have it, you don't deserve it. You didn't work hard enough for it, so you're not in that position to get it. So don't come, you don't come at people who worked hard, and that's in all facets. Again, it's not only cars; it's all facets of life. You know, sports, everything. It applies to everything, and that's the way I look at life in general. Everything that you do, everything that you accomplish, it actually works together to make you a whole person, and it builds character. Again, I'm not a perfect person in the aspect, you know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. I mean, there's no perfect person. Everybody got something that's going on and wrong with them. But at the same time, not being perfect doesn't mean that you don't know who you are and where you're at in life and what you want to do and everything. So that's one of the biggest, I hate to keep touching on it, but one thing that kind of irritates me the most is when guys come into your life, you know, and feel like they deserve shit that you have, or they deserve your time. And then again, that's why I said time, because it plays in there. One thing everybody knows about me, when you say, you know, hey man, if you got free time or a second, I never have free time. And I will tell you straight up, I never have free time. If I'm working, I'm working. If I'm helping the customer, helping the customer. If I'm doing my own stuff, I'm doing my own stuff with my family or whatever. My time is consumed until I sleep, whenever I sleep, and I wake up and I'm doing stuff. So there's never free time, which means you got to get in line when you're dealing with me. That's just how it is. Other people are more accessible, more open, and they say, oh, the door is open and all that bullshit. It's fucking bullshit, because when you call somebody and the same person that said they had time, you know, call me anytime, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I never say that to anybody. Call me anytime, you know, whatever, door is always open. And then say you hit them up when they're, you know, with their wife in the bed or whatever. They're not going to take that phone call. You know what I'm saying? So when people say that, they're BSing you. And I never say that to people. So, again, when you message me on email, you message me on Facebook, again, it's just not, there's no free time with me. So, you know, that's one thing I want to get across to a lot of people, even with the YouTube stuff and things like that. The reason why I don't do videos, because the time management. I mean, I'm not going to spend a whole day recording something and then editing in it, and then I get 200 views with this new YouTube crap. I just can't do it, man. So again, that's partially why you guys haven't seen videos, and that's why I switched to this what's this here? This podcast, where I got reprimanded online from this podcast group. YouTube is not a podcast. If you guys don't know, it's whatever podcast, RSS feed, or whatever bullshit that these people put out there. There's a lot of people in this podcast shit too, which is why I do the way I do it, because there's a lot of guys out here that have been doing this podcast stuff for a while. You know, whatever you want to call it, vlogging, video cast, or whatever. And they just feel like they, you know, again, time is all related. They feel like because they've been doing it, you know, 15 years, 20 years, whatever, that they're like some kind of fucking gurus. When, as far as I know, there's no profession of podcasting. I mean, there's a professional presentation, and you know, microphones and cameras and stuff like that, or just microphones when you're just doing this audio. So yeah, there's a professional approach, but I don't know of anybody that's making millions off of it. You know what I mean? Maybe, I'm not going to, I mean, if I Google, it'll probably come up. But, you know what I mean? That's kind of one of the things I be getting to recently with this podcast thing is, hey, it's not like this, it's not like that one. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not trying to be like anybody else but me. And that's the way I run my life. I'm pretty set and content about, you know, where I'm at, where I've gotten to. And when you reach a certain age, you're not going to change yourself or change anybody. It just is what it is. And my basic approach, and I said so much that it seems like it's false, it's just being fucking blunt. And I'm swearing more this. I'm swearing more this time because it's something that it energizes me. It's something that, you know, even when I'm talking to another person when I meet the first time, I'm very I'm always trying to, you know, make sure people understand who I am and who they're dealing with, because you deal with so many shitty people in this world. You don't know who's straight up and who's trying to do it right and everything. And that's just want to let everybody know that comes past my doorstep in my shop. Everybody that, you know, I meet out there that, hey man, you're getting this 100%, man. You know, it's not about, again, I said before, it's not about being a tough guy. It's not about being a know-it-all, because I don't put that out there. I'm just confident about what I know. And then as far as being a tough guy, you know, I'm not a fucking world beater, but again, I can handle myself. and I carry myself like that. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. And in this world, man, this new era that's going on, everybody's so soft. Everybody gets offended really quickly. You can't say nothing to nobody. You gotta watch what you say. Fuck all that. You know what I mean? I did that for a long time in the military. And even in the military, I carried myself in a certain way where I was not messed with. I knew my job. I knew my regulations. I showed up on time. I did what I had to do. I passed tests. I ranked up and I did everything I had to do. I did everything my supervisors told me to do. I did it plus more, which is why I got 5s. Before all that Fireball 5 shit was all inflated, I was earning my 5s. I was doing what I had to do. I came out of college, so I wasn't doing the school stuff, but I was doing the volunteer stuff. I did deployments. I did deployments well. I was, in leading roles and all that stuff. And again, I don't really want to talk about the combat stuff too much because it kind of seems like a bleeding heart type of thing, and that's not what I am. It's just, again, letting people know where you come from, and that's and I will let people know. You're dealing with a combat vet, meaning that you're crying and all that shit when you bring it to my doorstep. But this doesn't work. Even with my wife, I had to tell her sometimes, man, like, what's the problem? And it makes me angry, and I had to catch myself because I'm getting angry because it's not a problem, because I'm getting angry because people make situations out of stuff that shouldn't be a situation. And again, it goes back, it kind of wraps into, again, time. Time is the biggest thing, and people will say like the time thing is made up by certain people. It's not it's whatever you want to say about time. It's just like time doesn't exist, or some people will say time doesn't exist. And at some point it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't exist, but at some point somebody set a watch, and then that watch became the standard time: Eastern time zone, Pacific time zone, Greenwich time zone. Like there's time zones, which is why the 24-hour clock is pretty cool, because if it's 0100 here in Japan is 0100, in Utah is 0100 in Switzerland. So that's why it's pretty cool, and actually why I think America is like one of the only places that uses 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. stuff like that, because everybody else, you come over in Japan, 1500, 1600, 1700 is a standard thing when you talk about it. So it's not like rocket science. So it's a pretty good thing. But alluding to that, or not alluding to it, but what I'm trying to get at is time is what you make it. And for me, I just don't like wasting time. I hate with a passion saying tomorrow. But sometimes with this business stuff, I'm learning and growing as far as business, and know as fast as I work and as fast as I can do things, I'm working with a wide network of different people, working with different humans, so different people are different. But for the people out there, again, my customers that recommend guys that comes to my shop, please tell guys, again, reservation-based appointment only, meaning it don't matter what you got going on and how fucking serious or important you think it is. If you walk through my door, you're not going to get service. 90% of the time, you're not going to get service. I'm going to take your name down, email, and then kick you out. That's it. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but again, like I said, time and not being entitled, because some people feel like they feel like they're fucking important. But when you come to my world, you're not. When I was military and I walked into a section say like NPF, and you go on NPF, NPF now they do like they have appointments because dudes are coming in at any time out of order. I gotta get an ID. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Lost my ID at the club or whatever. Like, that's not their fucking problem. They got a bunch of stuff going on. You lost your ID. Now it's a scramble to get your stuff, before you get paperwork. But now, you gotta, like you guys who are military know you gotta set an appointment for that. You can't just walk up in somewhere, there's not a line, and then get service. There's places where you can do that. There's like Burger King and Popeyes and whatever. But my shop ain't that, and most businesses don't operate like that. Most of them do, but I contradicted myself. Reservation-based, appointment-based companies, which is nothing. People act like that's something wrong. Like there's something wrong with being a reservation-based company. It's not. It's just I set appointments, and that's how it works. The reason why I do that is because, plain and simple, I keep bringing up military. I work next to a military base. Nobody on that base has the same timeline. Even if the guys are in the same workshop, if the guy's an E6 or E7, he has a different amount of responsibilities than the E1 or E3, E2, or whatever. So, showing up to work is a different time zone. So the guy, if I got 2 customers from the same shop, they work on a flight line. One guy's an E8 and he works at the desk. He can leave anytime he wants. The other guy is an E3. He works on the aircraft, and he has to turn that jet. He can't leave to bring his car. That's why I set reservations, because everybody doesn't have the same timeline, and that's why I work that way. Because if anybody out there who or customers watching, the reason why I do that is because no time is the same. Going into that is one thing. Is like, you know, the reason why I got why you email all the time. I email, number one, because you can say whatever you want. I can say whatever I want on the phone. It's not recorded unless you're recording it. So there's no, like, you know, email. You know, when I type, you know, it's going to be 2,500,000 yen and whatever. When you show up and I tell you it's 3,500,000 yen, you can pull out your phone and say, hey man, you said 25 here, and when I'll check myself too anyway, so I avoid that. But, you know, I generally send out an invoice. Email is a recorded document on my server, not Facebook, not Skype, not Line, not any of that WhatsApp crap. Anything that you can delete or whatever, and you know, stuff disappears after a certain amount of time, or you reset your phone, it goes away. My emails are backed up like weekly. So I mean, from everything I got from the first email I sent out, I think, you know, back in 2016 when I opened up the server, it's there and everything. So that's why I do email. That's why I always do that. That's why I email you when your car is done, so you can say, hey, you can email me, whatever. I emailed you. And then I'll call you after whatever work hours you told me it was. So, again, alluding to time. Everything, the reason why I run my life like I do is because, again, my time, I value my time. Some people don't care about that time. Some people they open their arms up for everybody. Then those will be those same people, you know, you see on Facebook or whatever. You know, it's a social media time, so people vent on Facebook and they'll, you know, post up, you know, I'm turning off Facebook, or, you know, it's taking up my time, or, you know, people are wasting my time. I'm always opening up my heart and getting broken hearted. And I wasn't like a open heart type dude, but I did help a lot of guys back in the fucking day. Maybe they're watching this now. Back in the day, and it helped me now, because all those times people gave me the cold shoulder, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. And I did it. I mean, I've done it from the beginning. I've had some assistance from some guys. Like, I mean, like one guy, I don't believe in having a gangbang on the fucking car. I don't like that. Don't like a lot of guys around. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Blah, blah, blah. I hate that shit. So anyway, guys turning it, you know, giving me the cold shoulder, or like I always say, is a funny thing. And it's actually kind of, one guy told me this shit. You know, I was trying to do engine pull or something. This was back when I first started. And a guy was like, hey, I got to watch my cats or some shit. Like, dude, some grown fucking guy, you know, we were about young adults, like 21, 22. Say, hey man, I gotta babysit my cats for my mom, or some crazy shit like that. I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, all right, cool, dude. I'm gonna pull this engine. So I got good at it, and as a result, I'm making a living off of doing that, being efficient by myself. A lot of people feel like they gotta have 5 or 6 dudes. Like, dude, I've built full cars by myself. Yeah, maybe you gotta take a pair of vice grips and, you know, hold it on the bottom or something like that to take an extra few minutes, but everything can be done by yourself. I don't believe in that, having a lot of people. I hate having a lot of guys around, because everybody fucking talks too much. Dudes want to take smoke breaks, and when you want to get shit done, you're just fucking around, man. Like, you 5 guys, I guarantee you, and I'll bet money on it. You take 5 so guys who don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're gonna pull an engine or whatever. I guarantee you, I'll pull that shit and put it back in the same time. Again, very confident about it because I've done it. I've came to 8 of guys who are supposed to be so-called gurus, and they can't get a fucking engine out, and there's 8 dudes standing around the car jerking off. I just don't like that, man. So again, I prefer to be by myself. I don't need somebody telling me, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. I know what to fucking do, man. I know the FSM. I read them inside out. You know, while you're, you know, dudes out there playing and doing whatever they're doing, you know, again, goes back to, you know, kind of everything is wrapped in a time, again, in entitlement. Some people feel like because they're a certain place in the world that they deserve shit. And then some guys feel like because, again, they're a certain type of person or whatever, that they deserve your time. And again, you don't. You don't deserve anything, man. So, again, that's all that episode was about, man. It was just really, I was ranting about, it was a quick rant type of deal. And, you know, I just wanted to get this out there for episode 3 because I didn't do it for you guys. Actually, I did it, but I didn't put it up. So, again, I mean, it was, some stuff happened today that kind of triggered this, that made me more, like, aggressive. I hate to seem like I'm aggressive, but it just really made me angry. Some stuff today and the day before, and I am human as much as people don't believe so. You know, it's just you know, when you come at me, just come correct and everything will be good. The minute you try to bullshit me or you try to get over on me or whatever, I'm going to expose that shit right in front of your face, right in front of whoever you brought to my shop with me. Anybody. I love a crowd, because crowd, you got other witnesses that say, yeah, he said that. And again, not trying to be a tough guy, but again, what you got to understand, when you put shit out there to people, you're going to get shit back. And certain people won't give it back. They'll cry about it. but other people will give it back. So again, just be cognizant of that, people's time, and be cognizant of entitlements. And to end on everything, nobody owes you shit, and that's coming from me. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign out because again, I got to get to somewhere else, and I got to get some other stuff done. So again, thank you guys for tuning in for this quick podcast of episode 3, and I got the episode 7 coming up pretty soon. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. It's be on YouTube and SoundCloud and all that good stuff. So see you guys later. It's gonna be Down Jackson signing off with Pinku Style in South Japan.